I speak with investors daily, and the one thing is clear. Many people rely on their distributions to cover monthly expenses, but you'd be surprised how many investors don't fully understand how their distributions are generated or what drives these payments. For any investment, it's important to know how and why you are getting the distributions every month. Let's talk about how your investment is paying you. What is current cash flow? Well, current cash flow is what you're going to get every month. Between the 15th and the 20th of every month, you should be receiving some type of ACH in your personal bank account. And this is going to represent the cash flow that you'll be receiving from the operations of the real estate. How does cash flow work in a DST? Simple. It's from the rents. It's either a investment grade company paying the rent due to a lease, or it's a bunch of little tenants paying their monthly rent for their apartment stay or their senior housing stay that represents the cash flow that the DST would receive. How often do investors receive cash flow from DSTs? Well, I would say 99% of the time, you're going to receive cash flow on a monthly basis. But there are DSTs that, like mineral rights, oil, natural gas, natural liquids, that distribute on a quarterly basis. As an investor, what should you be looking for in a DST's cash flow projections? Most importantly, is the property producing the cash flow you're receiving? Or is the cash flow you're receiving being supplemented by reserves that belong to you? It's very important that you find these things out, because if an investment is producing the cash flow you're receiving from the real estate, that's a great thing. But if the cash flow is coming from reserves, I would actually question that. What do property expenses play in determining cash flow? Well, across the United States, I promise you, all of you are experiencing the crazy increase when it comes to property insurance. So if property insurance has been projected to be $200,000 a year, and all of a sudden now it's $400,000 a year, well, guess what? That's going to hurt your cash flow. Or sometimes properties are incentivized to be built in a geographic location by providing what we would call tax abatements. Hey, guess what? You don't have to pay property taxes for 3 years. Well, if you're not paying property taxes for 3 years, guess what? Your cash flow is pretty high. But then year 4 comes in and you wonder where your cash flow went from 6% to 3%. Well, the tax abatement have expired, and now your cash flow is experiencing the increase in expenses. How do management fees impact the cash flow of a DST? The management gets an asset management fee, AUM. So they might get 100 basis points or 1%, or 125 or 150 basis points. And so these fees are going to be material when it comes to the impact of your cash flow. What risk can affect the cash flow stability in a DST? Well, where's the property located? Is the property in an area where it could be hit by a hurricane? Units get flooded, those units no longer can produce cash flow. That's going to affect your cash flow in that DST. In addition to that, operating expenses. If utilities go up, if property insurance goes up, that's going to affect your cash flow. Or geographic location. Is the DST and the property have a lot of competition around it? Or is there empty land where a new apartment building can be built right next door, or another senior housing facility? Well, now you're competing, right? That also can affect your cash flow. Please remember that these can be complicated investments, so make sure you read the offering documents carefully and ask questions if you don't understand. If you have questions or you want to learn more, call us at 844-533-1031 or visit our website, 1031crowdfunding.com.